Yo, welcome back to another episode of Keisha's Corner. What's up? How y'all doing? I'm Keisha. We have Ash over here. We have
What's
for
good, everybody?
Black Girls Interrupted. I wear my purple for domestic violence. Violence, girl, what's wrong with me? We got our wine going. How's everybody doing today? How you doing, sis?
Girl, whew. When I tell you, baby, it's been one hell of a week. But you know what? We made it. I made it. Tuesday night, I had a real deep conversation with my daughter. Of course,
So,
this week, this month we were talking about relationships. So I definitely want to jump into talking about mother-daughter relationships, and that was a conversation between me and my daughter that we really had to have. Rebuilding our relationship, definitely something that I wanted to do. And I'm glad me and her finally sat down and had that conversation.
right. And I enjoyed that episode. And what I liked about it is that she was she opened up and she opened up for everybody. That episode was actually so emotional that our good sis said it made her tear up. So that was episode definitely for mother daughters to see. I'm proud of you for doing that.
I appreciate it. It was hard. I think the hardest thing about me doing that episode was me being so vulnerable and being so open and letting everybody into my world. I had people message me after the show and they were like, "Oh, Ashley, we never would have known. Looking at the pictures, y'all just look so happy every time I see you. You're smiling, your daughter's smiling, but there's a lot of pain, there was a lot of tears behind those smiles." So I'm glad that I was able to just, show my vulnerable side and just be open with everybody that could possibly be going through those types of struggles with their daughters. It's hard raising a black child, a black daughter, in this day and age, with everything that's going on. So, my personal journey, Black Girls Interrupted, that's what it's about. My personal journey.
Right. So for some reason that we having technical difficulties, your sound changed.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
you.
I don't know
So
what was going on.
um it is Domestic Abuse Awareness Month. And I know you have an episode coming on Black Girls Interrupted on Tuesday about domestic abuse awareness. And you yourself were a victim of domestic abuse.
I was. Um, I'm not gonna get emotional tonight because it's a very sore, touchy subject. Um, Tune in Tuesday
Right.
and listen to my story. Travel on that journey with me, and then listen to my road to recovery. How I was able to get out of that domestic violence relationship. I was in it 5 years. It wasn't easy, um, but I'm a survivor. So tune in Tuesday for that.
So please, if you or anyone you know that suffered with domestic abuse, tune into Black Girls Interrupted on Tuesday. Um, so one thing about domestic abuse, a trait of it actually is toxic relationships. So we switched the whole show because I actually wanted to talk about this because I've seen some things. Um, Toxic relationships could be anything. Um, it could be, you know what? That's gonna bring us to the next question. So, the definition of a toxic relationship. Sis.
You have two broken people trying to fix each other. You have one person that brings their emotional baggage, you bring in your emotional baggage, you haven't completely healed, they haven't completely healed, and you're trying to make each other work. You're trying to fix each other and you haven't totally fixed, oneself. Another definition of a toxic relationship, Fighting. You fight, you break up, you get back together. You fight, you break up, you get back together. You argue, you fight, you break up, get back together. You argue, fight, break up, get back together. That's so toxic. It's not healthy, excuse me, for you or the other person, whether it's a male or another female, two women, two men. That's the toxic relationship. Something that's dangerous. You're busting each other's windows out. He go to jail, she go to jail. You bail each other out. You get back together. Y'all good 2-3 months, and boom, you're back again. And then the verbal abuse. You're belittling one another. You're making this man feel less than a man. He's making you feel less than a woman. That's toxic.
Right.
That's definitely not healthy.
So, I've seen a couple of toxic relationships. Like, I don't think me personally, uh, I have anyone because of what I've seen. Like, if you have to go to the extent you go to in a relationship, then that's the kind of relationship you don't need to be in. So I see instances where women will flatten tires and be right back with him after you flatten his tires a week later, or you're walking outside with bruises, but you will go back to him in that same relationship. Let me ask you this: is there a such thing as a toxic marriage?
Yeah, there is a such thing as a toxic marriage, a toxic relationship. Period. Whether you're boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife, you could have toxic. It could be toxic. You could be so in love, but just not be meant for each other. You
Right.
know, just because you're husband and wife doesn't mean you don't go through the same things of being toxic. He could be, and when I say toxic, and this is not just directly towards men, it's for women too.
Women, yeah.
Um, he could be jealous of seeing you progress in life. That's toxic. He's telling you, oh, you're not good enough. He's making you feel bad for your accomplishments and vice versa. Jealousy. Why be jealous of your partner? Why do you not want to see your partner excel? That's toxic. To not want, to do everything in your powers to keep your partner from going to the next level. That's toxic. I don't care how you slice the bread, the pie, the pizza, the cake, it's toxic.
And it's funny you say that because I forgot this. Toxic marriages, I didn't believe they exist until I got older.
Okay.
Um, it was an instance that a married woman will constantly have her husband is constantly cheating on her. Okay, so you cheating on this woman, the other woman, and then you proceed to go to this other woman. See, I'm trying to go around the subject. You know the woman, and then you sit here and you're just okay with it. After flattening the tires, bleaching clothes, and everything, and then you allow her back in your life, and then you pretend that nothing didn't happen last week or the week before. Nothing happened. But then you go back and you do it again, and it's the same cycle. He goes back to this other woman, you know it, and you go to this person, and it's the same old story.
And
So,
another thing,
mhm,
and not to cut you off, sis, but just to kind of piggyback off what you said, another thing that's toxic is this man or this woman, you create situations and then you try to play the victim. You create a situation and then you want to blame the other person like they did something to you. You know, I was in my last relationship was toxic. I'm gonna talk about it. It was very toxic. As much as I love him and as much as I'm still in love with him, we're just not meant to be together, because I come with a lot of emotional baggage. He had a lot of emotional baggage. And in the midst of that, me trying to build him up, I was losing myself, if that makes sense.
Right. Right.
Because I was carrying the load. I was trying to deal with my own personal issues. I'm trying to help him work through his personal issues. We're arguing, we're fussing, we're fighting. I said things to him that I should have been punched in the fucking mouth for. You know what I'm saying? Like, his mother is deceased. And whenever we would get into it, I knew he would say things to hurt me. So guess what? I'm gonna say things to hurt you. So I knew his sore spots. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew what buttons to push, just like he knew what buttons to push with me. And that wasn't helping. But we tried, despite all of that, we still tried to stay together. You know what I'm saying? And then it finally got to, he had a drinking problem. I would drink every so often, but when I drank, I didn't know when to stop.
Right.
And so if, we would argue, we would fuss, we never fought physically. But just because you don't fight physical doesn't mean it's not a domestic violence relationship. I was verbally and emotionally abusive to him. He was verbally and emotionally abusive to me. We were toxic. We were like a waste dump, but we still tried to make it work. We still tried to we tried to fit pieces together, it like in a puzzle, almost like this, and it didn't fit. So eventually,
Hey,
hey,
Maggie.
hey Maggie, what's
That's
up?
okay. That is okay, girl. Enjoy your night. I got your message, and we appreciate you. We know you will be on here joining us. So, yes,
I
that's
got
cool.
my wine tonight, sis.
That's fine. So enjoy your night, Max. Thank you.
But I
So,
mean, um, despite all of that, we still tried to make it work. Love was just not enough to keep us together. Neither one of us was willing to budge. I was, it was almost like, you got to do this. And he was like, no, you got to do. So, I guess in the
like,
end,
what create? Okay, so it just makes me wonder. All right, so you know how everybody has them horoscopes, right? And some of the horoscopes, yes, you gotta pick happiness. Yes, yes. So I gotta ask before I get into my next statement that I'm actually about to make, because some people are so much alike that cause them to bump heads. Some people are just so stuck in their ways. Some people carry from one relationship to another relationship and think that person is going to do the same thing. So, with all that being said, I just gotta know. And I know us women are just like, so it's our emotions. It's our emotions that get tied up in one situation.
yeah.
And we're like, this is who I want to be with. Like, what makes a woman, I probably women or men, stay in a toxic relationship? It's just, okay. And I hope she's watching. You know, my girl, I ain't gonna say no name. I always
I
want to know.
hope he watching. I ain't gonna say no names.
Yeah, I just want to know, like, if you're in a toxic relationship and you know it's not healthy for you, what makes you stay? Like, what is it? The dick? I'm gonna be honest. Is it the sex? What sex dick go hand in hand? He got the job. He's a good person at heart, but he continues to do the little things, and you going at it, he's going at it, and boom, y'all clash. What makes a person stay in a toxic relationship?
I, in my opinion, why I stayed, because I felt like if I loved him hard enough, he would change. Because he was in another relationship, like couple of relationships before we even got together. He was dating a girl, and he walked in on him he walked in on the girl and his cousin fucking. And that was his first love. So I think he never completely healed from that very, very first relationship, because that's heartbreaking. Your first love, what it's like. You meet the guy, or you meet the girl, and you fall in love, and this is your very, very first time you fall in love. So I don't think he really healed from that. And I think he carried that from that relationship to the next relationship. And then when me and him got together, it was, I went back over like some old conversations that we had, like when we first got together. And that was one of the things I told, your insecurities. You're insecure. I only want to be with you. And I told him, it's some things we got to put on hold, because you got some insecurity issues you got to work on.
Oh,
Oh, girl, you see the best part
you guys,
there.
colors by Keys, right here, colors by Keys. We actually have a sale going on. You get 50% off if you use the code Corner. Don't miss it. We got all types of, matte sticks. They don't come off, y'all, unless you use a good oil. I don't know if you can see it. We got lipsticks. She got on mocha. I got an unreleased color on. And we got new color sticks to be used as good liners. Yeah.
Baby,
So,
your lips is popping, baby. I'm not gonna even lie. Baby, that
but
woo,
that mocha though. So, colors by Keisha. Y'all head to the site
y'all
www.
better get you some. I got me some. I'm
dot
telling you. And soon as everything get back rolling for me, I'm be ordering some more. I need some winter colors.
Oh
Cause
yeah,
baby, oh, I'm trying to glow up here. I'm trying to glow up.
Mary,
Trying to
you're
glow up. Yes, like Mary say, glow up.
and be on the lookout for the gold top box. Gold top box.
I
Gold.
definitely, I definitely need to hear about that gold top box here.
Okay, so before we get back into our next conversation, the gold top box will include all gold tops lipstick in the box. You'll get the bundle, all gold top box colors.
Oh,
So it's gonna be like my version of a vault. You get all colors, and this is not even half of them. I just want y'all to know this is not half. You get a good deal. I'll announce that later. So here will we?
I definitely am gonna need that pink when I do my photo shoot for Black Girls Interrupted. My shirts are gonna be made. Have my mask. It's gonna be live. It's gonna be on and popping.
And you can wear your mask with your lipstick, honey.
I know it because it don't come off. Trust me. When I came to Atlanta and I had my photo on, I had my little mask on. It didn't rub off.
Mm. Okay, so there you have it. Y'all heard it here. A
It does
testimony.
not rub
It's
off.
not
I'm
finishing
thinking,
my smoke.
and you'll see it's not on my scroll. There you go. See.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Terror Artist, for I'm pretty sure you got some for your wife.
Hmm. Tell them, baby. They want some good head.
It don't come off.
It absolutely doesn't come off.
Not about
I
that.
can attest to that, baby.
Mm, 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 mm.
Oh, I'm so sorry. September 10th, baby. I can attest to
Okay, so okay. Let's talk about that toxic relationship. Let's
that.
talk about that toxic relationship. So
So, but yeah, but we tried to make it work. Like I said, it just, I, and then I carried the baggage from my last relationship into this relationship. It was, I didn't trust him. He didn't trust me, but it was like, I didn't want to see him with nobody else. He didn't want to see me with nobody else. So we tried to make it work. Like I said, I felt like if I loved him hard enough, he would change. Some people are just at that moment. Some people are just in your life for a season, and some people, a reason or a season. And I think he was for me, but who knows? I don't
I think women stay in a relationship because they don't want to start over. They don't want to start over. Unfortunately, it. I mean, what will you miss? Like, okay, so here's the thing: you don't want to start over, but I wouldn't. I would rather not go through that drama again. Like I would rather know that okay, this person is love me, he appreciate me, and I know he won't do anything to make me think differently. As far as like, okay, I don't feel insecure about my relationship. I'm secure in my relationship. That type of thing. So I think women stay in those relationships because they don't want to start over. They invested too much time, but baby, people gave up years, years. If starting over is something that I have to do, I will do it. Like Michelle said, you gotta pick happiness. You
Absolutely.
gotta pick happiness.
And
I go ahead.
no, and like I was about to say, again, I'm not trying to over talk you, but um, I'm getting older. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm in my 40s now, so it's like we don't want it. And I can only speak for me. I can't speak for everybody else. When you get in your 40s, your late 30s, early 40s, maybe even your 50s, nobody wants to start over, so you just settle. I think another reason to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, a lot of reasons women stay, or a lot of reasons men stay, they're afraid to be alone. They don't want to be by themselves. So they figure, I'd rather have a piece of a man or a piece of a woman than not to have a man or a woman at all. So we stay and we deal with it. We put up with it, we tolerate it. As long as the right side or the left side of my bed ain't cool, you know.
But I just have like I think us as women, our emotions, like we're such emotional creatures, whether you want to play hard about it or not. I think we just get so tied up to believe that okay, maybe I'll try this, and sometimes women blame themselves.
I'm
But
guilty.
huh?
I'm guilty. In the beginning, I did.
But why? Why would you blame yourself for something like okay, this person, this is in their nature, right? This is who they are. So if he started out like that, right? And if he started out with the infidelity and stuff, you only been together for maybe a year. You've done everything that you thought you've done right. So why would you blame yourself if he went out and did this?
That comes down to self-esteem issues. You know, if you go back and you watch my first episode, my very first Black Girl Interrupted episode, when I go and I speak on depression and anxiety, that comes from a little girl. That's not something that, what I'm saying, just started when I got in this relationship with him or my previous relationship. It
Right.
didn't start like that. It was just, a lot of us women, we have never seen, some of us, not all of us, have never seen what it's like for a man to really truly love a woman. So you just assume, okay, well, he loves me. He comes home to me every night. Yeah, he's entertaining people on social media, but I'm who he lives with, and vice versa. Men, same thing. Oh yeah, yeah, she do this, but she with me. I live with her every night. I live with him every night. That's it goes back.
And
We men and women may have never seen what it's like to properly love a man or properly love a woman. Or you go into the relationship thinking that this person is just like your last person. before you even giving a person a chance. We do it. We do it. Men, women, we're guilty of it. Not just women, but men do it too. You go in like that. But
Right.
like the staying part, people tired of story. We tired of trying to get to know people and dating, and I'm just speaking for me. Like I say, I'm getting older. I'm in my 40s. I have
Dating, no. Starting over should be like moving to California when you're born in New Orleans. That should be like dating. You know, that should be like that. So starting over is not necessarily a bad thing. Does it hurt to pick up you have to pick up the pieces and carry them by yourself? Yes. But putting the pieces together is all you need. And then everything will fall into places. Ain't nothing wrong with picking up the pieces now. Nothing wrong. Like you pick up and you move from one place to another, you're gonna treat that like that.
but
You know,
change is hard, for everybody. Change is different. That's like you've been with a company for so long and then you move to another department within the company. You've gotten so comfortable being in this department. Now all of a sudden they moved you up. It's an adjustment, but it takes time
eventually you learn
to
and
love.
you learn and you perfect and you treat that like that. Look, let me tell y'all something. I love my sister and I would look, I may not have a lot of experience. And I feel like when I talk, I probably be saying a little bit of nothing, but I feel like I be saying something. But I
You
be
see,
trying to encourage, and I try to encourage the best way I know how. And like I said, like I haven't really been through domestic abuse, and you're strong to get through that because a lot of women don't know how to leave. And I just want my good sister here to pick up the pieces, or go to that new position, learn the new position, perfect the new position. So that's okay. You being promoted. You being promoted to picking up the pieces and rebuilding yourself and learning to love yourself all over again, no matter what it says. That's the whole thing of rebuilding, loving yourself, and it's okay to start over. You look at everything as starting over. If you fail, you get up and you do it again. See, y'all, I love my sister. Let me say something. I'm telling her what I need to tell her, and I don't care how it come out. She got mad at me one time, but that's okay. That is
but
okay.
I need, real friends, sisters, people that call each other sisters. If you can't take the truth, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need somebody to kick in your ass a couple of times and say, hey, come on now, you're
Fix your
tripping
car.
today, because I
Fix it.
did have a moment today, you know, and I just love the fact that you allowed me to have that moment instead of being dismissive. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate you because I do have those moments, and I think it's more so, and this is for men and women, is because when you get in a relationship, the ultimate goal of a relationship is marriage. So when you do, when you get into this relationship and you invest years, and then you go from being boyfriend and girlfriend to fiance to you're planning a wedding to nothing happens. So you get upset at the what maybe should have been. I think that's more so what I was upset about was you were supposed to have been my husband. You know what I'm saying? You were supposed to have been my husband. You went from being my boyfriend to my fiance. You were supposed to be my husband. We had a date set and everything. So I think that's what hurt the most was that how could somebody that was supposed to have been my husband now become a stranger to me?
Just look at it like I told you earlier. And I can't believe we have it now. It's time we having this conversation online, which is no problem because guess what? I will tell her about herself. I will let her have her moment, and I will hand her her crown with sparkles, with diamonds, and tell her put that shit on and let's get it together. And
And
I know it's easier said than done, but I just want us as women. I want
I,
us to hold and cherish ourselves. I don't want us to be hurt no more because it bleeds over into something worse than what it is as well. So self esteem plays a big part.
oh
If you
yeah,
lose your self esteem, yeah, because you feel unwanted. And like I said, it took the right person for me to find to make me feel wanted, to make me feel beautiful, to make me feel. Let me tell you, anybody that came before him, girl, is obsolete. I tell you, it's obsolete, and it takes that right
that
person
one person.
to
And
take all that away.
I think that was the thing for me is because like when we got together, I was like the size I am now. But you know, when you get in a relationship and you get married, you know, you gain all that weight. You gain that happy weight. So I didn't feel attractive to him. I would look at myself and I was like, I would go back and look at the old pictures of me and be like, oh, I remember when I used to look like this. Look at me, who I am so big, like, and I didn't feel like he found me attractive, so that wasn't his issue, that was my issue, but the communication was horrible between me and him. We would put shit on Facebook. I would put shit on Facebook, and it just, girl, it was toxic, and then his family would be in the middle of our relationship, and girl, it was a hot fucking mess. It was a hot mess. But you know what? Every day gets easier. Every day. When I find myself having those moments, I snap back. I have that little moment and I don't lay in it. I don't lay in that moment. I drop a few tears, I cry, and then I say, you know what? I'm really the winner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm really the winner. And I tell myself that every day. I got up this morning, sis. And since we're talking about toxic relationships, so I got up this morning, I was in a mood. And I got in the mirror today after I got out the shower. I had to go to the doctor. I had my physical today.
Right.
And I got in the mirror and I said to myself, you that bitch.
Okay.
And so I dried the tears and got it together and went on to my doctor's appointment. But I did. I talked to you this morning. You know, I did the damn thing today. I slipped back for a moment. But when you have that sisterly love, yes, you may be younger than me, but your words, everything you say to me, that shit sticks. I hear everything you're saying. I don't talk to listen, I listen to hear. So everything you say to me, I listen. And I sit back and I'm like, do you know who the fuck I am, nigga?
Sometimes you have to remind yourself.
Like,
You, you have to remind yourself who you is so you can remind that person who the fuck you are. Nothing wrong with that, ladies. Nothing wrong with self empowerment.
and I had to.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why we stay. And like I say, to go back, excuse me, that's why we stay in these toxic relationships. That's why. That's my reasoning why I stayed as long as I did. I didn't want to see him with nobody else. He didn't want to see me with nobody else. That's why I stayed. That's why we stayed. We loved each other. I think it's still love there on his end and my end. But we both know health wise, We just can't be together. We was too toxic for each other.
Right.
Too toxic, baby. That was, baby, that was like putting a stick of dynamite in a volcano. Cause baby, he was the stick of dynamite and I was the volcano. Cause baby, I was like a whole Tasmanian devil. Do you hear me? I
And
was
see those things.
throwing
Oh,
dishes. Girl, I done busted up dishes. I ain't ashamed to tell nobody that, baby.
but this is what we're talking about though. This is toxic. You know, you have a person that you know you can't be with, and constantly, it's like a cycle, a never-ending cycle. Don't you get tired
It was exhausting.
where he at? Every
It really got exhausting. It really truly it got exhausting to me. It had gotten to a point where sis sex was like it became obsolete. Oh, you want to have sex? Okay, let me roll over for you. You know, I wasn't into it. It was I was like, you know, whatever. I was over it. At that point, I was over it. But I didn't want to let go either.
see,
So that's what I mean. You know, that's the what's the word? The toxicity. I can't even say the word.
toxic is it? I can't even say
You
it.
know what we trying to say, America. Y'all know the toxic. Y'all
So
know the
don't
word we're trying to say.
judge. Don't judge.
But it
So
was.
how? Okay. So
So let me ask you, sis.
okay, I get that.
Have you ever been in a toxic relationship? Or let me ask you this: before your husband, what made you stay in your last relationship, and you knew that the dude wasn't good for you?
Well, my relationship wasn't toxic. It was a difference, and here's why. The person who I talked to predominantly, I kind of felt again, it wasn't toxic. It's a difference between you're in a toxic relationship and you're not seeing that it's toxic, and you're in a toxic relationship and you know that you're being used. You know that this person is not good for you. So I wasn't in a toxic relationship, but I was being used. I was being used for a place to stay. I was being used for my car. I was being used right under my nose. You don't text another girl.
That's toxic. Why? But
See,
why?
you don't know. Ah,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I feel that okay. So my definition is that when he got away, I made him stay away. The minute I got away, I stayed away, and that was that. There was no back and forth. That was no point in me even staying because I wasn't gonna waste my time.
So let me ask you this, sis. How long did he stay before he left?
Couple months,
So
couple.
when did you know that he was using you? How long did it take you? Was it 30 days? Was it 2 months? Was it 2 weeks? 2 days?
When I say so, here's this. You know, a lot of guys like to use the term sister very loosely. You know, sister, your mom didn't give birth to that child. So, I'm sorry. I, I
Whew.
I had to only because When they would use the term sister, that I knew that wasn't your sister. At that time, we knew it was just more of a friend with benefits. So,
FWB,
uh-huh. After
friends
we
with benefits.
sister phase, the sister phase, then it became the SFWB. So at that time, I was just looking for that little getaway, and then boom. All right, bye. Locks change, even at a key, girl. Locks change.
Mm.
That was it. So that's my story that I really didn't tell people because you'd be embarrassed.
But you know,
Embarrassment.
but there's nothing to be embarrassed about because men and women, we go through this every day. We go through this every day. Women use men, men use women. You know, it's just a matter of, do you stay in that? And you know this. You know, I will say towards the end of our relationship, he used me. You know, he used me. But it was like, you know, when he left, because we were separated for a year. Like he lived in one state, I lived in another, you know, I lived in Texas. But we were still in a relationship. And so I got to a place where I enjoyed being in my apartment by myself. You know, I was like, I went to work, came home. I ain't have to worry about the toilet seat being up. I ain't have to worry about TV being on. I was like, okay.
It was quiet.
Now, the first couple of months, it was a little hard, you know, because I had only lived with him, you know. So, I mean, you know, but like I say, we knew it was toxic. You know, he started doing, you know, he was doing his thing. I started doing my thing. You know, I started conversating with other guys, sent a few pictures, but we still tried to make it work. And then finally one day it was like, enough is enough. Like, you got to go now. You know, don't get that dick away. You got to, you know, for real. It was like, don't get that dick away, but you got to go. Like, this is becoming too much. But I mean, you know, that's why a lot of people stay in toxic relationships. Fear starting over. You know, that's the biggest thing. Fear of being alone. Those are the top two things. And on my list, I feel like why people stay in toxic relationships.
Okay, so I have screenshots of, I guess, the no nothing on how do you define a toxic relationship and how toxic relationships can manifest. So I'm gonna just read a quick excerpt, whatever that is.
I got you, baby. I know what you're saying. A little excerpt.
Yeah. Um, when one of or both parties act maliciously, either consciously or subconsciously, to hurt themselves, the relationship, or their partner. Toxic manifests in many forms: name calling, manipulation, relentless control, ooh, and physical abuse, lying or gaslighting, which pour into internal turmoil that can ruin your self esteem. So, everything that we just said is traits of a toxic relationship, which
Hmm.
lead to domestic violence.
And a lot of people fail to, and a lot of people, you know, when you hear the word domestic violence, people automatically assume it's
They,
physical.
yeah.
And it's not always physical. It's mental abuse, emotional abuse. And eventually it does lead into physical. I can definitely, give you a little snippet of what we're gonna be discussing on Tuesday. Um, my relationship started emotional.
Mm.
You know, we would be out together and say we see a guy walk past us, and I could say, "Oh, I like his shirt. Go be with that motherfucker then." It started like that.
Right.
And I just kind of chalked it up. Okay, yeah, whatever. Whatever. Then it got to emotional, and then it turned physical. The last 2 years of our relationship, it turned not my last relationship, but the relationship back in 1999. It turned physical the last 2 years. Um, he would cheat on me. I'd take it. I'd leave. I'd take it. I'd go back over there. He got to using. He was alcoholic, so it got to the point where whenever he drank, I would just sit there like this and wouldn't say anything because I knew if I said the wrong thing, that was gonna be a fight. And he did it in front of everybody. His mom and his dad. He did it in front of them. And so finally, um, he had told me. He said if because at this point I was done. I was 99 pounds soaking wet. I had fought the girl that lived around the corner. I had done all of that. He used to come sit in my job, to see, oh, you're trying to fuck with that nigga, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that, you don't know. But again, I thought if I loved him hard enough, he would change. He would go to jail 2 or 3 months, he'd get out. He'd go to jail 6 months, he'd come home. It was a cycle. So the final straw came July 22nd, 1999. Baby, when I tell you, I remember that date, like the day I had my children. He was in the kitchen cooking noodles, and he was boiling water. And I forgot what we had got into it about or whatever. All I felt, it felt like somebody hit me in the bag. It hit me in the face with a bag of nails. He had threw that whole pot of boiling water on me. It burned my face, this side of my right side of my face, my neck, my arm. I had first-degree burns on my face and my neck. I had a second-degree burn on my arm. I still carry the scar. And I knew then I had to go. And I had left before, go
Uh-huh.
back. I remember he drugged me off the bus, the public transportation bus. I had broke all my nails. I had to go home. I had to go to my mama's house like that. My mama never said a word. She knew. But guess what? I'd go right back over there.
And do you think that's why she never said anything?
Hmm.
She would be back.
She knew that. She knew that. So that day, July 22nd, 1999, was the day that changed my life forever. And I became a survivor. He was arrested 8 days after that. By this time, the skin on my face and my neck had peeled off. So, it was pink. You know when you burn yourself and
Mhm.
the skin come off, it was pink. And I had to go to the police department and take pictures. And my one friend, the one that came and got me the night that happened. Let me back up a little bit because I jumped a little too far. So after he threw the boiling water on me, the police were called. Police came. He was not arrested that night. Police say, well, we don't see any marks on you, nothing. So my best friend at the time, Monica, she came and picked me up. And my mom said, just go to her house. And, my mom said, Monica, just bring it to my job in the morning. So this happened maybe 11, maybe 12 o'clock at night. When I woke up the next morning, my eye was swollen shut. I started to get the blisters on my face. So I had to go to my mom's job like that. I had sunglasses on. Couldn't nobody see. My little cousin came for to pick me up. He took me to the eye doctor. The eye doctor said we have to wait until the swelling goes down to determine if she's going to be blind or not because it had gotten in my eyes, everything. So, I mean, we'll go more into that Tuesday, but I'm a survivor, but if you in a situation like that, baby, if it starts mentally and emotionally, 95% of the time it gets physical. They don't change. I don't care how much you love them. I don't care how much you pray for them. They don't change. That's who they are. And so I just so happened to run into him. Oof. After I had my first two children, he's a crackhead now.
Mm-hmm. It took a toll on him.
And he was in the night that he did it, he had smoked wet that night. He had smoked some sherm that night. So yeah, he was a powderhead. I didn't know it. See, I didn't find out all of this till after he got arrested. They was like, when they tested him, it was like, yeah, his urine full of cocaine. What? I didn't know. But I mean, we'll go more into the story on Tuesday. Hopefully, everything gonna come through like I need it to. But I
So
mean,
this is what it would look like. Tune into Black Girl Interrupted. It might be cut off. But tune into Black Girl Interrupted on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Did I get it right?
8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Okay, yeah, I'm stuck. My time zone's messed up now.
I know it.
So if we started back, talk about times, I get confused.
It's
So
okay.
we're gonna break away from this.
Yes, Michelle, baby. Karma is that bitch, baby. I'm telling you, karma has no expiration date. Do you hear me? That's what I've been trying. Let me tell you something. That's what I try to tell people. God sits high and looks low, baby. He don't sleep nor slumber. So trust and believe. Everything you've done will come back to you. It ain't no date when it's gonna come, but just know it's gonna come.
Yep. So we're gonna break away for a moment and talk about something important. So we all know I'm on it. Did y'all vote? You have to October 30th to vote for early voting. If not, November 3rd is election day. So y'all get out there and vote. Y'all get
Less,
out there and vote.
less than 2 weeks away. You want to
Mm-hmm.
make a change? Get to the polls. Stop listening to what people tell you on social media. Stop letting the press tell you. Stop letting the news tell you. Your vote matters. Your vote counts. Get out there and vote. If you want to be a part of the change, you got to go out there and help make the change. Stop complaining about Donald Trump. If you want him, if you want him out the White House, go carry your ass to the polls.
Y'all heard her. So if you need help finding your poll, here's a quick video. Pay attention, screenshot, screen record, do whatever you do.
Hey everybody, this is Kesh. If you're looking to find your poll location, you can visit www.vote.org, select find your polling location, and then from there you will go and click on your state, and it will take you to the website to check your poll location and your registration status. So get out there and vote. There's no excuse for this.
All right. So like,
I voted. I voted last week.
well, well,
Baby, when I tell you, the voter suppression is real. Do you hear me?
uh-huh. No ballot boxes. Only one ballot box in Harris County, Texas.
I live
Oh,
in Fort Bend. I went around the corner and voted. I stood in line for 4 hours to vote. When I got to the door, they was like, "Oh, the machine is down." Well, I'm gonna wait till it come back up.
yeah, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to get tired of standing in line and go home. So, before we get into our last topic, y'all, I'm going to play a clip from the pastor. Um, and I want y'all to listen to it. And I want y'all to listen to understand. And here you go.
This vote in November is not about the next 4 years. It's about the next 40 years. Let me take you back to Constitution and governance. The President of the United States has the authority to place men and women as judges all across the district courts, the appellate court, and the Supreme Court. This current president, in his 4 years, has appointed more judges than every other president except Jimmy Carter. In 4 years, President Donald Trump has appointed 198 judges to the bench, 2 to the Supreme Court, some 50 plus to appellate court, and the rest to district court. And many of those appointees will sit as justices of judgment for the rest of their lives. 198 judges have been appointed by this president. Do you know how many of those 198 appointees are black? Of the 198 judges that this president has placed on the bench, not one of them is black. Not a single black face sitting as a judge under this president. 198 judges, and not one of them is black. So when you don't vote, you don't determine who stands at trial. When you don't vote, you don't get to sit in the jury and determine the fate of those in trial. When you don't vote, you don't get to help determine the judge that sits on the bench. So don't tell me you out here hollering Black Lives Matter if you don't vote. Black lives don't matter to you if you don't vote. Don't tell me you're mad that Daniel Cameron has not indicted the police officers who killed Breonna Taylor if you don't vote, because you ain't got nothing to do with it. How dare you not vote? When we don't vote, we dismiss ourselves from being part of leveling the playing field of justice in the United States of America.
Okay, so for the record, he now it's been told by Senator Kamala Harris that he's now appointed 300 judges. Not one is
It's
black.
black.
So be the change that you want to see. I just felt that this was needed to be put in this program anywhere before we end our week show. But I just felt that this needed to be put out, and I will play it next week, every week up until election day. So I will play it after election day because I need to remind you all that local elections are just as important. So we're gonna get into our go ahead, sis. You gotta say
Oh, you know what, sis? I want to talk about something real quick,
okay.
and
It's
it's been bothering me all week. It's really been bothering me all week. Daniel Cameron, I hope this video gets to you. I want the people to know you are a sack of shit.
the lumpy
I,
kind.
I am so glad that the judge denied your request to let those jurors speak. You lied. You are an injustice to the black race. Like Miss Tamika was saying, the young lady, you're no different than the black men that helped to bring slaves to America. You're no different. You never gave those jurors an option to convict or bring charges to those other police officers involved in the Breonna Taylor murder. I wish I could add this. I watched the interview with her boyfriend. Daniel Cameron, if I could see you right now, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Definitely.
Because you sold out that family for $12 million. If there was no guilt, why give a settlement?
We've all been asking the same question. I mean, you wouldn't pay for nothing that you didn't break, right? Right? Right?
Another thing I want to talk about, George Floyd. Happy belated birthday, Mr. Floyd. We miss you. We love you, and we're going to continue to say your name. I am so glad that judge took third-degree murder off the table, because second-degree murder is still there. And like that judge said, we're going to let the jury decide. Not only George Floyd, Alton Sterling, we're still going to continue to fight for justice for you. Eric Gray, we're still going to continue to fight for justice for you. Tamir Rice, we're still going to continue to fight for justice for you. Tatiana Jefferson, we're still going to fight to get justice for you. Sandra Bland, we still going to fight to get justice for you. Breonna Taylor, you didn't die in vain, baby. You didn't die in vain. Jordan Davis, you're not forgotten. Justice was served for you, but you're never forgotten. Trayvon Martin, he would have been 25 years old. And your killer still walks. You're not forgotten. You're not forgotten. Black Lives Matter. Defund the police force. You want to see a change, you go to the polls. If you're tired of the police killing black men and black women unarmed, go to the polls. You go and you vote. Stop letting white America tell you that your voice don't matter and it don't count, because it does. Oh my God, I was not gonna get emotional tonight.
This is the final thought. So this is what we do. This is what we're talking about. These things are important, and this is just why I started this show. I want to talk about these things. I don't know a lot of everything about politics, but as people who have the right to vote, and we need to utilize that right, this could be the change right here. And what I mean by change is not just the president that you have to vote for.
So convicted felons, if your felony is over, I believe it's 5 to 7 years, you can vote. Don't let them people up there at them polls say you can't vote. You can. Go register right now and go vote for early voting. Be at them polls early. Be at them polls November 3rd. That's election day. I don't want to hear no excuses. Let me tell you something. If you don't vote, you don't have a right to say anything about what happens in the world in the next 4 years. You understand? You have no right.
And don't complain.
I better not hear not one word from nobody. If you didn't go to them polls and vote, don't say nothing to me. Don't say nothing to me. We can't have not one conversation. We can't have that conversation. If you haven't gone to vote, unfriend me right now on Facebook. I don't care who you're voting for. Get out there and vote. If you're a Trump supporter, God bless you.
Oh, but we ain't seen nothing yet. We ain't seen nothing yet. So we're gonna go ahead and end it on this note. Thank you all for watching.
You need to roll that vote again. You need to roll that one more time.
Okay.
You need to roll it.
Out. I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure y'all tune in to Black Girl Interrupted on Tuesday. Remember, you have till October 30th to vote. November 30th is election day. Be the change that you want to see. Get off your ass and stop complaining. Alright? Right. So, bye, everybody.
Love y'all. Have a good night.
This vote in November is not about the next 4 years. It's about the next 40 years. Let me take you back to Constitution and governance. The President of the United States has the authority to place men and women as judges all across the district courts, the appellate court, and the Supreme Court. This current president, in his 4 years, has appointed more judges than every other president except Jimmy Carter. In 4 years, President Donald Trump has appointed 198 judges to the bench, 2 to the Supreme Court, some 50 plus to appellate court, and the rest to district court. And many of those appointees will sit as justices of judgment for the rest of their lives. 198 judges have been appointed by this president. Do you know how many of those 198 appointees are black? Of the 198 judges that this president has placed on the bench, not one of them is black. Not a single black face sitting as a judge under this president. 198 judges, and not one of them is black. So when you don't vote, you don't determine who stands at trial. When you don't vote, you don't get to sit in the jury and determine the fate of those in trial. When you don't vote, you don't get to help determine the judge that sits on the bench. So don't tell me you out here hollering Black Lives Matter if you don't vote. Black lives don't matter to you if you don't vote. Don't tell me you're mad that Daniel Cameron has not indicted the police officers who killed Breonna Taylor if you don't vote, because you ain't got nothing to do with it. How dare you not vote? When we don't vote, we dismiss ourselves from being part of leveling the playing field of justice in the United States of America.